You are tired in a way that sleep does not fix. You wake up exhausted and you carry a heavy dread in your chest. And most men will spend their entire lives never understanding what this feeling actually means. They think they need more rest or more money or a better situation. But the truth is that they are completely wrong. You do not have a circumstance problem. You have a programming problem. If I asked you what Psalm 91 is about, what would you say? You would probably call it a simple religious prayer for protection. You have been lied to. Society teaches you to beg for safety, and this exact mindset is why millions of men live in constant fear. Important note, this is timeless wisdom. Read the description below this video to aid you in achieving the optimum results. The titans of history knew a secret that the masses refused to believe. They knew that true protection is not requested. True protection is magnetized. It is the natural byproduct of a mind operating on a specific disciplined frequency. You do not get the safety you beg for in this life. You get exactly what you are. And until you elevate your dominant thoughts, no physical wall will keep you safe. Let us look at your daily reality. You work hard. You read the books and you try to set the right goals. You put in the hours while the rest of the world sleeps in comfort, and yet the breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. It feels as though you are driving with the emergency brake pulled tight. You feel an invisible weight pressing down on your shoulders every single day. I am here to tell you that this is not a lack of effort. Your exhaustion is completely valid, but it is not coming from the outside world. Deep within the architecture of your subconscious mind, there is an outdated script running on a loop, and it is quietly sabotaging every conscious step you take toward wealth and peace. Until you rewrite that script, every empire you build will eventually collapse. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor. It builds exactly what you instruct it to build. The problem is the blueprints you are handing over, because when you go to sleep in fear, your mind spends the next 8 hours building a reality of scarcity. You are literally programming your own failure while you rest. And then you wake up wondering why the world feels so incredibly hostile. The drifter believes his enemies are out there in the physical world. He fights the economy, he fights his boss, and he fights the changing circumstances because he thinks the world is against him. But the Creator knows the absolute truth. There is no external enemy that can defeat you without your internal permission. The only real threat to your kingdom is the unmonitored thought entering your own mind. Think about what you allow into your mind on a daily basis. You consume fear disguised as information. You absorb the panic of the masses, and you wonder why you feel paralyzed when it is time to take bold action. Every thought you tolerate is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. The universe does not judge the seed, it simply returns the exact harvest you planted. This brings us back to the great secret of Psalm 91. It was never meant to be a plea from a victim. It was designed as a neural protocol for the sovereign commander. It is an ancient frequency tool used to completely lock down the mind against the virus of mass panic. When you understand its true mechanism, you stop begging the universe for favors and you begin to command your reality. But right now, you are trapped in a cycle of reaction. Something bad happens and you immediately panic. You release a wave of terrified energy into the quantum field. This terrified energy acts as a magnet. It goes out into the world and attracts more circumstances that match your exact level of terror. You are trapped in a self-fulfilling prophecy of misery and defeat. You try to build physical safety. You save money. You buy locks for your doors, and you try to control the people around you so they will not hurt you. But physical safety is an illusion when the mental gates are left wide open. A king with a fortress of stone will still fall if his own mind is poisoned. Your true sanctuary is not a place on earth. It is a disciplined state of consciousness. The world is loud and chaotic. It demands your attention and feeds on your emotional reactions. The media wants you afraid, and the system wants you dependent and weak, because a fearful man is incredibly easy to control. But a man who has mastered his internal frequency is an unstoppable force. He walks through the fire of economic collapse and societal chaos without even smelling like smoke. This is the exact realization you must have today. Your suffering is not a random accident. It is the result of letting the external world program your internal state, and you have unknowingly surrendered your power to the chaos of the masses. But power that has been surrendered can always be reclaimed. You are the mental gatekeeper, and it is time to close the gates to anything that weakens your spirit. To reclaim this power, you must fundamentally change how you view your own thoughts. They are not harmless clouds passing through your brain. They are the invisible hammers and chisels carving out your tomorrow. Every moment of worry is a prayer for what you do not want. Stop praying for your own destruction. Stop visualizing your own defeat before the battle has even begun. We are going to dismantle this invisible enemy today. We are going to expose the hidden mechanics of your fear and replace them with the ironclad laws of creation. You will learn how to weaponize the wisdom of Psalm 91. By the end of this journey, you will no longer be a victim of circumstance, but you will become the absolute architect of your destiny. But here is the truth that no one will ever tell you. You have been praying for peace while vibrating with absolute terror, and you constantly wonder why the chaos only seems to multiply around you. The answer lies in the fundamental laws of the universe, because the universe works by strict law and it does not respond to your desperate tears. It only responds to the exact emotional frequency you broadcast. This is a harsh realization for the modern drifter. The drifter believes that if he cries loud enough, the world will eventually show him some much-needed mercy. But the world is not designed to pity the weak or rescue the chronic complainer. It is entirely designed to reflect your internal state back to you in physical form. You do not get what you desperately desire in this life, but you always get exactly what you are. If you are radiating fear, you will simply attract more reasons to be afraid. Look closely at the ancient text of Psalm 91. It says that he who dwells in the secret place shall abide under the shadow. Notice the very specific and intentional words being used here. It does not say he who visits the secret place once a week when he feels like it. It says he who dwells there. To dwell means to live entirely within that elevated mental state, and it represents a permanent residence of consciousness where no doubt can survive. The secret place is not a physical building made of heavy stone. It is the disciplined and unshakable architecture of your own mind. It is a frequency of absolute certainty that you must actively maintain every single day. When you allow panic to enter your thoughts, you immediately step outside of that protective shadow and you voluntarily leave the fortress of your own making. And then you act surprised when the arrows of life begin to strike you down. The drifter lives entirely in the physical world of random effects. He reacts to the nightly news and he absorbs the anxiety of his terrified neighbors. He is just a fragile leaf blowing in the wind of mass hysteria. But the Creator operates in the invisible and powerful world of primary causes. The Creator understands that his dominant thoughts act as an electromagnetic shield, so he does not react to the storm because he commands the weather within his mind. This is not abstract philosophy or some weak motivational concept. This is the exact scientific law of energetic resonance. Two things vibrating at different frequencies simply cannot occupy the same physical space. Poverty and massive abundance cannot live in the same human brain. Paralyzing fear and absolute dominion cannot exist in the same beating heart, while hesitation and power will always remain fierce enemies. You must make a firm decision right now about which frequency you will host. A wrong decision is always better than having no decision at all. Stop what you are doing and listen to this very carefully. What is actually controlling your mind on this specific day? Is it the dark fear of total economic ruin? Is it the quiet anxiety of losing what little comfort you currently possess? If you are harboring those negative thoughts, you are sending a direct command to the universe to completely destroy your wealth. You are literally using the massive power of your own faith against yourself. You must step up and become the mental gatekeeper today. This process of mental extraction requires brutal honesty with yourself. You must stop pretending that your anxiety is just a natural reaction to the economy. Your anxiety is a choice you make when you abandon the secret place of your own mind. It is the price you pay for allowing the external world to dictate your internal frequency. The 1% refuse to pay this ridiculous tax, and they guard their mental gates with the ferocity of a king defending his sacred throne. The ancient text speaks of the terror by night and the arrow that flies by day. These are not physical weapons wielded by your human enemies. They are the invisible arrows of doubt and the mental plagues of societal panic. They are the toxic ideas circulating through the media and the weak collective consciousness. The masses absorb these dangerous arrows willingly without fighting back, and they sit in front of glowing screens while letting the poison enter their unguarded minds. But the sovereign commander completely refuses to accept the daily poison. He builds a massive shield of conscious awareness around his sharp intellect. When the arrow of fear flies toward him, it immediately bounces off his energetic field. Why does this happen? Because fear has absolutely nothing to attach to when a mind is filled with absolute certainty. You become completely immune to the chaos when you stop vibrating at the frequency of chaos, and the impending danger simply passes you by as if you were entirely invisible. You must accept full responsibility for your daily mental environment. Society is deliberately designed to keep you afraid because a fearful population is incredibly profitable. But you are no longer a blind consumer of their manufactured panic. You are an architect of destiny who builds massive empires in the dark. You do not simply consume the chaotic world around you, but you actively generate the exact reality you wish to see. And generation begins the moment you take supreme control over your internal thoughts. This is exactly why begging in fear only brings you more crushing fear. The act of begging confirms your deep belief that you are weak and vulnerable. You are commanding the universe to treat you exactly like a helpless victim. The true application of Psalm 91 is not a desperate plea for divine help. It is a bold declaration of your own invincibility, and it is the profound assertion that you and the ultimate power are now fully aligned. This massive shift in identity changes everything about how you walk through this life. You stop looking for hidden threats, and you start recognizing your own undeniable power. You finally step into a state of quiet and completely untouchable daily authority. But do not just take my word for this ancient and powerful universal law. We must look at how the greatest minds in history applied this exact mechanism, because the hard science behind this frequency is absolutely undeniable. Let us look to the example of the greatest men in history. How did a man like Andrew Carnegie build the largest empire in a time of extreme crisis? He did not rely on luck, and he never begged the universe for a miracle. He understood a specific mental protocol that you can easily replicate tonight. He operated on a frequency of cold calmness while the rest of the world panicked. The masses think these titans were simply born with a special advantage. You have been told that wealth and absolute security require perfect external conditions, but that is completely false. The secret of the 1% is not what they do with their money. It is exactly what they do with their internal focus when everything around them is falling apart. They protect their mental gates. This brings us to the hard science of your own brain. Modern neuroscience finally proves what ancient wisdom has taught for thousands of years. You have a mechanism inside your head called the reticular activating system. This system acts as a massive filter for your daily reality. It literally scans the physical world to find evidence that perfectly matches your current emotional state. If you dwell in fear, your brain will only show you danger. It will blind you to massive opportunities and hand you more reasons to panic. But when you dwell in the secret place of absolute certainty, the filter changes. Your brain begins to hunt for solutions, and it completely ignores the noise of the fearful masses. You literally become blind to the panic. This is exactly how the protective shadow of Psalm 91 operates in the physical world. It is not a magic shield dropping from the sky to block a bullet. It is a biological and spiritual rewiring of your own perception. When your frequency is elevated, you make entirely different decisions. You walk down different streets and you attract completely different people into your life. Let us make this perfectly plain. The drifter allows his amygdala to run his entire life. The amygdala is the ancient part of your brain that only understands survival and terror. When you watch the daily news, your amygdala is constantly triggered into a state of panic, and a panicked brain is completely incapable of building any kind of lasting wealth. But the builder refuses to live in a state of constant survival. The builder uses his conscious mind to override the primitive fear response. He uses the ancient words of power to calm his nervous system and command his reality. This is exactly what it means to be the true master of your fate. You must dictate the terms of your own survival. Think of it this way. Your mind is like an incredibly powerful radio transmitter. If you tune the dial to the frequency of poverty, you cannot hear the music of abundance. Most men spend their entire lives spinning the dial in desperate frustration. They beg the radio station to change the song, but they refuse to simply change their own frequency. Now, hear me. You cannot outwill a misprogrammed mind. You cannot fight against the massive current of a negative subconscious. You must step entirely out of the raging river and stand on the solid rock of universal law. This is where the true power of the ancient text finally reveals itself. It is a tool for mental extraction. The great inventors, like Thomas Edison, understood this invisible season of the mind. When his massive factory burned to the ground, he did not cry. He did not ask the universe why he was being punished by fate. Instead, he told his son to watch the beautiful fire because they would never see one like it again. He remained perfectly calm while his empire turned to dark ash. That is the ultimate sign of a sovereign commander. He knows that his true empire is built inside his mind, and fire cannot touch the mental frequency of a creator. Edison rebuilt his factory, and he created even greater wealth because his internal blueprint was completely untouched. The physical world simply had to conform to his dominant thoughts once again. You think you are losing your mind because you no longer relate to your old friends, but here is the truth that no one tells you. You are not losing your mind at all. You are losing your old programming and you are stepping into a higher dimension of power. The isolation you feel right now is just the required space for your massive evolution. The drifter hates being alone because he is terrified of his own thoughts. He needs constant noise to distract him from the painful reality of his failing life. But the architect of destiny seeks the absolute silence of the secret place. He uses the quiet hours to construct his future, and he knows that solitude is the breeding ground for true greatness. Every single fear you carry is just a lie, looking for your agreement. The moment you agree with the fear, it becomes your physical reality. You must break this toxic contract right now. You must refuse to sign your name to the narrative of mass destruction. Your signature is your focus, and your focus is your most valuable currency. This is not just philosophy. That is law. Like gravity, you are a magnetic force in a universe of pure energy. If you want to activate the true protection of the ancient texts, you must change your internal state immediately. You must move from the frantic energy of begging to the cold calmness of absolute knowing. But how do you actually make this shift when the world is screaming at you? How do you command your brain to ignore the panic and lock onto the frequency of power? The answer is incredibly simple, but it demands absolute discipline from the man who dares to try. You need a daily ritual to rewrite the software of your mind. Now we are getting close to the thing you can actually do. The drifter loves to listen to powerful concepts and then immediately go back to sleep. But the creator demands actionable tools to bend reality to his firm will. You cannot just think about these universal laws casually during the day. You must actively install them into the deep architecture of your brain. Your subconscious mind is a tireless contractor that never takes a day off. It is most vulnerable during the 15 minutes right before you fall asleep. This is the exact moment when the conscious mind drops its heavy defenses. Modern science calls this the incredibly powerful hypnagogic state. It is the absolute golden window for your total mental programming. What do you normally do during these 15 crucial minutes of the night? You scroll through endless feeds of bad news and manufactured societal panic. You let the absolute worst fears of the world enter your unguarded mind. And then you close your eyes and hand those toxic blueprints to your subconscious. You are literally commanding your own brain to build a living nightmare. Your brain works all night to make those dark fears a physical reality. It searches the quantum field for events that perfectly match your deep terror. And you wake up feeling completely exhausted before you even leave your bed. This is exactly why you feel that heavy weight sitting on your chest. You did the dirty work of your unseen enemies for them. We are stopping this destructive and weak cycle tonight. You must establish a sacred boundary around your mind before you go to sleep. I call this the mandatory cosmic housekeeping protocol for the true builder. For the last 30 minutes of your day, you will consume absolutely zero media. You will turn off every screen and shut out the loud external noise. Say this aloud right now so your own ears can hear your powerful voice. I am the absolute master of my focus and the architect of my fate. Say it again, until your physical body actually believes the words you speak. You must treat this new nightly tradition as a sacred and completely unbreakable vow. Your future empire entirely depends on this specific and daily discipline. When the room is completely quiet, you will not pray from a place of fear. You will use the ancient words of Psalm 91 as a firm command. You will boldly declare that you are dwelling in the secret place of power. You are not asking for a temporary shield from the passing storm. You are actively claiming your permanent immunity to the chaos of the masses. You must also write down your definite chief aim before you finally sleep. The physical act of writing forces your scattered thoughts into a laser-focused beam. Write exactly what you are building, and write it in the present tense. Do not write that you simply hope to be wealthy and secure someday. Write that you are currently magnetizing massive abundance into your life right now. The universe does not respect weak men who wait for permission to succeed. It steps aside for the sovereign commander who clearly dictates his own terms. When you write your aim, you are handing a perfect blueprint to the mental contractor. Your subconscious will take that exact paper and work relentlessly until the dawn. It will literally rewire your neural pathways while your physical body rests. But what happens when the old fears try to creep back into your mind? Because the dark virus of your past programming will desperately fight for its survival. When the anxiety hits your chest, you do not fight it with more emotion. You simply observe the fear and firmly deny it any real power over you. You act as if nothing is impossible because you are the ultimate creator. This level of mental dominion requires ruthless action in your waking hours too. You must completely cut ties with the toxic people who constantly drag you down. You cannot build a massive empire while surrounding yourself with negative and fearful drifters. Their low frequency will constantly bleed into your carefully constructed mental fortress. You must be willing to walk completely alone in this invisible season. They will call you crazy and they will say you have changed far too much. Let them talk while they remain forever trapped in their own miserable cycles. You are busy becoming an unstoppable and undeniable force of nature. The deep isolation you are experiencing is just the universe clearing the room. It is removing the massive distractions so you can finally do the real work. Every single morning is a brutal test of your new mental architecture. Will you wake up and immediately reach for your phone to check the news? Or will you lie still and reaffirm your massive power over the physical reality? The drifter instantly returns to his digital chains the moment he wakes up, but the architect of destiny begins his day with cold and calculated calmness. Before your feet even touch the floor, you must declare your absolute authority. You must remind the physical world that you are the true master of your fate. Do not wait for the random day to tell you how you should feel. You must violently dictate the energetic tone of the day before it even begins. This is exactly how you completely collapse time and accelerate your massive success. This ritual is simple, but it demands a fierce level of daily discipline. You cannot do this for just 3 days and then return to your old habits. The subconscious mind requires relentless repetition to tear down the heavy old walls. If you stop building, the dark jungle of fear will quickly reclaim your mind. You must treat this mental practice like your life completely depends on it, because your life actually does depend on the thoughts you choose to keep. The average man will listen to this lesson and do absolutely nothing tonight. He will close the video and let the algorithm feed him another useless distraction. He will remain a victim because it is far easier to complain than to build. But you did not come here to be just another weak and forgotten statistic. You are watching this because you belong to the 1% of true creators. You have felt the deep call to greatness burning inside your weary chest. Now you finally have the exact scientific protocol to unleash that massive hidden power. The blueprint is in your hands and the foundation has been completely cleared. It is time to make the ultimate decision about who you will finally become. Now comes the turning point of your entire existence. This is the exact moment where the weak drifter dies and the powerful creator is finally born. You have heard the absolute laws of the universe. You now know that every single excuse you ever made was nothing but a shadow. The time for endless drifting is completely over. You are standing at the edge of your old life. You must make a final and ruthless decision right now. You cannot walk into your massive future while carrying the heavy baggage of your fearful past, because the universe only rewards those who travel with a focused mind. The world is waiting for a disciplined thinker who has chosen to rise above the mental noise. That man is already alive inside of you. Wake him up. You must say to yourself that you are finally done. No more playing the helpless victim to external circumstances you cannot control, and no more letting the dark fears of the masses write the script of your life. That pathetic chapter is entirely closed forever. A completely new chapter begins with a firm and unshakable new decision today. The victim is finally dead. There is absolutely no neutral thought in this world. Every single thought you tolerate is either pushing you forward or pulling you back into the dirt. It is either moving you toward total freedom or reinforcing your heavy bondage while actively destroying the very foundation of the empire you are trying to build. You must treat your thoughts as powerful weapons. You are one single decision away from massive, unstoppable momentum. You are one belief away from crystal clarity and a completely new reality. But that magnificent shift will never happen unless you force it into physical existence, because the world steps aside for the man who knows exactly where he is going. You must step up and claim your rightful throne today. Look deeply into the mirror of your own soul today. Will you return to the chaos of the masses and live your life in constant terror, or will you step into the quiet and immense power of the elite 1%? Hesitation is the ultimate death of a truly great destiny. You must command your physical reality with absolute authority tonight. Do not wait for tomorrow. Break free once and for all from the heavy shackles of negative thinking. Your mind is the ultimate gateway to the entire universe. Your disciplined thoughts are the master keys, and your massive destiny is waiting to be unlocked, but you must have the courage to turn the key today. Never again let a random negative thought decide your future. You are the soul master. You did not click this video by random accident today. You came here as a man completely exhausted by the endless drift. You were tired of playing the victim to cruel and unpredictable circumstances while watching lesser men claim the rewards that rightfully belong to you. But today you have finally remembered exactly who you are. You are the sovereign gatekeeper. From this night forward, you will act completely independently of fleeting motivation. You are a relentless builder operating in the invisible and lonely season of life. Stand up right now and claim your rightful place in this world, because the physical reality has absolutely no choice but to bend to your disciplined mind. You are the architect of your own destiny. The ancient knowledge you receive today is incredibly heavy. It will not serve you if you only hear it once and let it fade into the noise of tomorrow. Your subconscious mind requires constant and aggressive repetition to build a completely new world, and it will not accept a command that is spoken with any hesitation. You must seal this sacred contract right now. So, what will your massive legacy actually be? Will you be remembered as the weak man who allowed doubt to completely define his life? Or will you be remembered as the titan who looked fear directly in the face? You must make a public declaration of your new power. You must write your law into the very fabric of reality before you walk away from this screen today. If you are truly ready to command your massive destiny, seal your absolute decision right now. Write your definite purpose in the comments below this video. Let those powerful words be the ironclad contract you sign with the universe, and make a vow that you will never surrender your mental gates to fear again. Write it with absolute conviction and never look back. Subscribe to this channel if you choose to walk this powerful path, and join the elite ranks of those who refuse to remain average and weak. And I command you to listen to this lesson again and again. Play it as you sleep, and play it as you build your empire in the dark. Make these ancient principles the only voice you tolerate inside your head from this day forward. Your completely new life officially begins in this exact moment. You finally have the tools, and you possess the supreme internal authority. Do not wait for tomorrow to secure your massive kingdom. Equip your mind tonight and step boldly into the brilliant light of the creators. The choice to remain average has been permanently removed from your life forever. You are the sovereign commander of your destiny. You are the undeniable magnetic force of nature that shapes the modern world. Go out and construct your magnificent reality without any apologies to the masses. Build your great empire in absolute silence, and let your massive success make all the noise. The universe entirely belongs to you now. Claim your massive reward.